And here we go. Hi, everybody. Tabletop Santa here, coming to you from the beautiful middle of the United States in Decatur, Illinois. It has much better internet here than it does in the North Pole, so that's why I had to come down here and do this. I have got Chris and Ray from Calliope Games here to talk to us about Calliope Games and some of the cool stuff you all got going on. Hi, Chris. Hi, Ray.
Hey, hello. What's happening, Santa?
I'm living my best life.
Hello, ho, ho.
Hey, look, I just want you to know, okay, and this is the honest to God's truth, Santa is my hero.
What?
Has always been my hero. So I am exceptionally proud to be here speaking with Santa today. This is awesome.
He's actually starstruck right now.
Well,
there's a lot of truth to that.
I do have that effect. So tell us about Calliope Games, because obviously I do have a new audience that was watching my content, and they may not know all about Calliope. What is Calliope known for?
So just so that everybody knows, I'm actually the owner and president of Calliope, right? And Chris is the director of fun.
Yes, he is.
And so Chris actually makes all the important decisions, and I just give him a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, but so basically what we do is we are a publisher of wonderful gateway games, right, or filler games for gamers, or for non-gamers, family style games, right? So all of our games play well within the hour. They will entertain anywhere from 2 to 6 players in most cases, but a lot of times you can play up to 8 and 12 players with some of the titles that we produce. We are very, all the games are actually designed for adults. However, because of what we really want to do, and that's put people at the table, right, sharing a common experience, we want kids to be able to play, right? But we want them to be able to play and compete against the adult without the adults throwing the game. Right. So it's really, really important that there's some element of luck to each of these games, right? Because at the end of the game, we don't want mom and dad sending Junior to bed. We want them saying, we need a rematch right now. You cannot go to bed until I win.
That's right.
Right? But so, that's what, for people who are very light gamers, or they play on the holidays, that type of thing, we're great in that space. But for hardcore gamers, it's about when somebody gets voted off the island, what can we do, right? And so in between their 2 games for the evening, they'll play a Calliope title.
Nice.
Right? So that's what we're up. That's what we do, and we take a lot of pride in it. So
I love it. Now, as far as like games that someone that may periodically visit a game store or the gaming area in a bigger box store, what is a game that they would recognize that you all publish?
Suro. Probably it would be Suro. Okay. The game of the path, the flagship game for Calliope, and what got the whole thing started. So Suro with the dragon on the cover. It's this game that's hiding right over here. Suro is it should be on everybody's game shelf or in their gaming closet, both families and gamers. It's just a fantastic game that plays in about 20 minutes, whether you're playing with 2 players or whether you're playing with 8 players. So that's one. Roll for it. My personal favorite Calliope game, not just because I designed it, definitely is one that a lot of people have in their collection. Again, that's a game where out of one standard box you can play 2 to 4 players, but if you actually have the red and the purple version, you can play up to 8 players. And there's also a fancy deluxe tin that has the entire thing with all kinds of fancy art and a flocked interior and a bag and the whole 9 yards. So
you get to roll a lot of dice and match them to cards. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Roll dice, match them to cards, score 40 points, win the game. So
and they go. The thing about Roll For It that is so awesome is you put it in the glove box and you take it with you wherever you go. My girls will not leave the house without it. Right? I mean, literally, we had to stick it in the glove box so that anytime that we went out to dinner right? We had it to play with. Now, COVID's put a little bit of damper on that, so we actually had to put it on our dinner table, right? So.
And then the other nice thing about Calliope is that in recent years, we've worked with some really big name designers. We had a project called the Titan series, where we got to work with some legends. And so we've got some games that have done really well for us that people have been really enjoying. Richard Garfield of Magic and King of Tokyo fame did a game called Hive Mind for us, which is our big party game, the non-trivia trivia game. And then most recently, Rob Davio from the Legacy games and things like that, he did Shipshape for us, which is a really amazing 3D spatial bidding card game. There's a lot going on there, but it's so fun, and it's a great game for families and for gamers to play.
What was the game you had at Toy Fair? I apologize because I can't recall it, because there was so much going on at Toy Fair this year.
So the newest one would have been Station Master, which is in the background here, right? We would have been showing that. And then we had 3 games that we are getting ready to put out onto a Kickstarter within hopefully November 10th is when we're planning to make this thing go live, assuming everything goes right. Fingers are crossed, right? But we have Allegory, which is a bidding style game.
I'll be the Vanna White.
And so the really cool thing about Allegory is it breaks all the rules of bidding games, right? So when you bid in a bidding game, normally you bid, and when you win the bid, you get everybody else's money, right? In this game, you bid, you lose the money that you bid with, even though you won, but you're going to get other rewards for it, right? Yeah. So it really kind of messes with the bidding and that style of gameplay, if you will, and set collection, right? So the other thing about the game is, usually you're trying to build sets with the highest value score. Well, the same is true here, but you're building 3 sets simultaneously, but you only get to score the lowest one. Right. So it's really, really challenging, and there's a lot of different strategies to it.
This is designed by Zach Wiseman, who also did a game called Gotham for us, and a game called Menu Masters with his father Jordan Wiseman, who, if you followed gaming history, you know Jordan very well. But I just want to show off because for Allegory, I mean, you see from the cover, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous game. The idea is that you are authors, you are writing 3 epic tales. And I just want to show off some of the art here. So each of the cards, the themes that you're bidding on using these great big lore chips, which are your bidding chips. Okay. Each of these has 2 sides. So wisdom and folly, or happiness and sadness. Or maybe you got refinement and wildness.
That's me right there.
There you go. See, and the nice thing about it is, as you play this, you're actually putting them into the 3 tales. So there's a tale of nature. Tale of nature, tale of spirit, tale of energy. And so these are going to be in 3 columns. And as you collect these things, bidding with your lore chips to get them, you're only going to score the column, all of the blue cards, all the green cards, all the yellow cards, that has the lowest total value. So, and the other nice thing about it is, as you're grabbing these, you can just flip them whichever way you want, because when you put them all together at the end, you can actually tell a tale based on the themes you've collected into your tableau. So it's one of those games you can play without that. It's a fantastic bidding game on its own if you don't get into the themes. Right. But when you actually get into the fun of telling stories with the game, it hits another gear, and it just takes off. It's so much fun.
I love it. And I'm a storyteller. Santa Claus is a storyteller. And
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
You could tell the tale of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas with this.
With these cards.
I'm pretty sure there's one where the person's laying their finger aside their nose.
All right. I can dig that. So tell me what you have. Station Master.
So Station Master.
Behind you, Ray.
Yeah. Yeah, so Station Master is available now. right?
Okay.
And it's incredible. It was originally published by our friends over at Mayfair
Oh, okay.
many moons ago. Okay. And as you know, I used to work for Mayfair for about a year, right? And when I was there, Station Master was actually one of my favorite games, right? I would even go as far to say that I enjoyed playing it more than Catan, which a lot of people will say, that's blasphemy, right?
What's my pearls?
But as much as I like Catan, I actually liked Station Master better, right? It was just, it fit my wheelhouse a little bit better. So, but in Station Master, you are building trains and loading them with passengers and sending them on their way, right? It's just a gorgeous game, and that, so when you compare it to what it once was versus what we did with it, it's night and day.
Nice.
And that's the one thing that I was really disappointed about it when I was at Mayfair, was just the art that was actually on the box, right? So I always wanted to just beef it up, you know, and just make it absolutely beautiful, which we did. And so the locomotives and the actual cars, they're all period correct for steam, right? And it's just a situation. This again, this is a bidding game where you're hiding your bids. You know, people know what you're actually putting on the actual locomotives. And so I guess, let me back up a little bit. So in order to play, you basically have bidding chips that range from a -1 to a +3. Okay, so you only have 1 3, you have 2 2s, and then you have 3 1s, but one of them is a -1. Okay. So
and they're printed only on one side.
yes.
So as you bid with them, you place them down, and no one knows the value until they get revealed.
All
Right.
right.
So you can stand them up in front of you so that you can actually see the value of your passengers. Whereas before, they were actually the small miniature bidding tokens, right? And so you were always flipping them up, you know, trying to see what's what. And so here, they stand on their own. You can see them real clear, and it's really simple to actually lay them down on the locomotives. Why that is so important is it's much easier to bluff with somebody with that, right? And so one of the things that you may want to try to do is, in order to score this game, you're multiplying the value of your passengers towards the value of the train. So when the train leaves, it's the sum of the two. Okay. The cool thing about the game, and one of the things we added to it, was this -1 valued passenger. Okay.
The stowaway.
What's that?
The stowaway who brings no value to the
Yeah,
game.
well, yeah, exactly. He just jumped on board, right? So, but because it's a multiplication game, a negative times a negative. So if the value of the train is negative, and you put a negative passenger on it, you actually ended up getting a positive score, whereas everybody else that may be on that train may be hit with a negative score. Okay, so it's, you know, using that -1 passenger is really, really important. The other thing that we added to the game was a depot card. Okay, so in the Mayfair version of the game, when the locomotive left the depot or the station, it was done, right, and everybody scored. Well, in the version of the game now that Calliope is publishing, everybody starts out the game with a depot card. And so as long as there's 2 rail cards on the locomotive, you can interrupt it with the depot. And what that does is it makes everybody who is actually on the locomotive have to get off, right? And then if they want to get back on the locomotive, they get on at the depot. So they score. They get to score the cards that were up to the depot, right? But now I've stopped them from actually running away with the score.
And the short story is that, and this was with Chris Bayless, the designer, there could be a runaway leader issue with the original version of the game.
Right.
And so one of the things that we wanted to do, besides gussying this thing up and making it look gorgeous and making it something that was going to be like something everyone had to have in their collection, that was one thing when we talked to Chris. He said, look, so I made some expansions for this game later, and I tried to fix this issue. I never quite got it right, but I have this thought. And so when we played it, and you know, Ray loves the game, and I have been on the receiving end of him being the runaway leader.
We switched names. I became the leader.
Yes, that's right. He was Ray leader. And so this was definitely something that was very good. And so the people who have loved this game for years, when they hear about the depot and the fact that this helps address that issue, that pretty much just puts a little fix on the one thing that some people rubbed them a little bit wrong with the game in the old days. Yeah. So now you know, the game is even better received than it was.
Nice.
It's an incredible.
And the other thing is the other part that some people would be a little hesitant about was math, not wanting to count. So what we did was we went to our friends over at Thunderbox who did the Suro and Roll For It app. They actually made a free scoring app that lets you keep score and do all the things you want to do. But the best part is it has this little button at the top.
Mm-hmm.
You can make the whistle blow.
That's great.
Yes. Yes.
I feel like I played the original version of this at the Mayfair booth with Alex Yeager years ago.
Oh,
Alex
yeah.
loves
so
this.
it was released back, I think, in 2004.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay.
And so when I left Mayfair and I started Calliope, one of the very first things I did was I tried to get that game from.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We actually
We spoke
with Alex during the development of this. We spoke with who, Bob? Was it Bob too?
Yeah.
We spoke to a lot of the people who were there and were involved in the original creation of it, and they were so happy to see that this game was getting love and was going to be coming back out with a beautiful new presentation. It was like everyone really has fond thoughts about the game. And the idea that it's coming out, it's going to be shiny and new. People are just
that artwork you were showing, and not just the box art is great and it's way different than it was previously. Yeah. But those cards.
Well, it's actually, if you could put on a conductor outfit, Rick.
So I probably could, but conductor's going to be a little more svelte.
I suppose so. Yeah. Yeah.
Saint Rick for right now.
I'm really digging this. The TikTok community actually is the ones that named me Tabletop Santa, because I wasn't until they were like, you're kind of like this Santa figure in our community. And I was like,
that's like how people named Ray the mayor of Gen Con, because he knows everybody and would go around and socialize with everyone.
That makes sense.
It's great. You know, you fit the part well, buddy. I love it.
Indeed.
So yeah, so you know, for the holidays though, I mean, really, you know, Station Master's brand new, but for those people who don't know, you know, Suro or Roll For It, those are two really great games. Okay. Roll For It's a stocking stuffer. The other game that we have out that's perfect for the holidays, right, is 12 Days.
12 Days.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
And what is 12 Days?
Well, 12 Days is based on the iconic carol, The 12 Days of Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a trick-taking game, because the trick is the 12 days of Christmas, and you're trying to win those. The deck itself actually has all of the things from the carol, and it's a triangular deck. So you have 12 12s, 11 11s, 10 10s. And so all of the things, you know, the drummer is drumming, and this is all art by Echo Chernick. So you have all of that, and then all the way down to the one partridge in a pear tree.
My heart is growing 3 times its size right now. The doctor says it's an issue, but I'm loving what this is doing for me.
So yeah, what you're trying to do, there's 12 rounds. So every round is worth its number in points. So the beginning, it's only worth 1 point, but by the end, it's 12 points for that last day. And you'll have a hand of 12 cards. And so you want to try to use your low cards to claim the day. So everyone starts with their hand of 12. First thing you do, because it's Christmas time, you have to gift people things. You have to give things away. So the first thing everyone does is pass one card from their hand to the left. So you'll start with something new. Everyone plays a card face down, and then everyone reveals. Whoever has the lowest card wins the day. You're going to do that, then you're going to draw a card. You're going to do that 12 times. At the end of the game, the cards that you scored for the days are going to be worth their points, but you're also trying throughout the game to collect sets of cards, because at the end, whoever has the most of each number gets that number's worth of points. So if you collected the most 12s, you get 12 points. Okay. So you're trying to use your low cards to score the days, and you're trying to hold on to the high cards in order to get the bonus at the end. Mm-hmm. But this is what I find really, really clever. You know who else is in here?
I don't.
The big man himself.
Whoa.
Tabletop Santa. And his wife is in the deck as well. So what will happen is if you play Santa,
we're having issues.
she's in here. But if you play Santa to win a day, remember the low card scores the day. Well, he's a value of 0. So is Mrs. Claus. Well, you will probably win the day with Santa. But if you win that day, because you played with Santa, he's not going to keep it for himself. If you win with Santa or Mrs. Claus, you have to give that card to another player. So there's a lot of fun that goes into, do I actually play the 0 or do I gift it and keep it going? Sometimes you'll get Santa being passed around the table the whole time. Yeah. But this is a game that is, it's perfect year round because it's just a great game. James Ernest and Mike Selinker designed this, and they're just geniuses. But during the holidays, it just comes alive. It's so fun to play.
I will admit that one of my favorite memories of Gen Con past was when we were up in the Skybox.
At the stadium.
And we played this for the first time. And you all came out with your headgear, your ant.
Yeah. That was me. It was me and Bill Fogarty, and it was you. And we were only supposed to film for like 5 minutes, and we ended up playing a whole game of 12 days. Yes. And we had such a good, it didn't take more than 20 minutes, but we had such a fun time.
It was awesome.
That was a blast. Yeah, we all had jingly elf ears and reindeers, and that was a great time.
Who knew that could have been the foreshadowing of where we are today?
Hey. Oh.
Whoa.
I'm glad I could make the impression.
It's so good. All right, so we've talked about board games. Now, where can somebody go to find more information about all the products that you all are currently putting out there?
CalliopeGames.com.
Okay.
Right.
You can also follow our social media. We are at Calliope Games on Twitter, and we are Calliope Games on Facebook. So those are two really good up-to-the-minute places where you can find information about what we're up to. I also would say we talked about Allegory, and we talked about the Calliope Game Night Extravaganza Kickstarter that's going up on November 10th. Mm-hmm. It would behoove me to also mention that there are 2 other little games as a part of this. There's Enchanted Plumes, where you are building peacock plumes.
That's the one from Toy Fair we played.
Yes, I think that we might have. Now that you said that, I believe that. Enchanted Plumes, great little card game of building. You've got set collection, you got hand management, and it's a beautiful game. This one, just like 12 Days, both of these were actually illustrated by Echo Chernik. Okay. So we've got those 2. And then the other one that we have that's coming is Mass Transit, designed by yours truly and my friend Kevin Rogers. This is our very first cooperative game. So Calliope has made a lot of different games, but we've never made a co-op game before. So this is, the way I describe this, the formula for this is Mini Metro plus the Mind equals Mass Transit. So it's a limited communication, route building, transportation cooperative game. So it's a lot of fun, and it's a great one. You can play it solo. That's the other thing. None of our games have ever played solo before. Good. So you can play solo all the way up to 6 players in this little tiny box. So
just don't get your hopes up trying to win.
It can be a challenge. The more people you play with, the more you go, why are they doing that? Because you can't tell anyone what you have in your hand or what you're going to play. You're just building on the routes that people are playing. And yeah, you're going, why did they play that?
It's ruining the thing.
It's a super fun game.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. Our Calliope Game Night Extravaganza is actually all 3 of these games
Okay.
for $40.
And
So
that's
it's an entire game night in one package.
That's the
That'll
Kickstarter.
be the Kickstarter.
Oh my
That's the
God.
Kickstarter. Yeah, so it's all 3 of these. The idea is, I mean, and this is the biggest of the 3, but it's still tiny.
Mhm.
These are really, really small pocket-sized games. And
Right.
so this entire thing you can bring with you anywhere you go. So when you are actually able to go 2 places, when you
Right.
can get together with people, if you've been in the bubble separately and you decide to bring the bubble together, you
Mhm.
can bring these games out, and for $40 you get an entire games night worth of entertainment.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super
Okay.
fun.
So
November 10th.
November 10th, that's when the Kickstarter lands, and for everybody, follow them at their website at calliopegames.com and on all the social media platforms, except for TikTok. They're not there yet. We're going to talk about that offline.
We have to work on that. We'll have to talk separately about that. Get some TikTok going with
Yes.
with Calliope.
Now, I also want to ask you each a more holiday thematic question. We're done with the board game stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, as far as traditions, because we know a lot of holidays fall on tradition, what are some traditions that you two enjoy or bring to the table for your holiday events? That every year your family is excited for this thing.
Well, so I can't say that every year my family is excited for this particular event. However, we typically will take off the entire week between Christmas and New Year's Day.
Okay.
And so, that ties up, our entire vacation time. So, as long as I've been running Calliope, we give everybody that works for us that entire week off also. So that's one of the things that we do. But on January 1st, every year, I go for my first motorcycle ride. Rain, snow, whatever, right? I'm always doing it. So that is one single tradition that happens every year. All the other traditions with my family, they change from year to year, so they're really not a tradition.
That's cool. That's a cool
But
one.
it's fun to be with everybody, and that's, that is what I really, really enjoy the most about the holidays. So,
Perfect. How about
Chris?
you?
We are a big traditional family. We believe in traditions and doing things. It's a little, before I even say anything, it's a little heartbreaking because some of the traditions probably won't be able to happen this year just because getting together with a lot of people, may not happen. But we have a couple of things that always stick around for me. One of them is, so my family's Norwegian. We're German and Norwegian. And have you ever had those candle angel things where you light the candles and the little angels will go around because of the heat, and they'll ting the bells. Ting,
Yep.
ting, ting. So that was a tradition for years and years. We would get new ones every year. I don't know whatever happened to them. It's like they would just disappear. They were like Elf on the Shelf. They would vanish after Christmas. So you have to order more. So I always think of Christmas with that. The other thing for us, tradition, on Christmas Eve, we would go to Mass. And my grandma would have us all at the end do the candlelight service.
Mm-hmm.
We'd all stand in a circle with the candles, and we would sing Silent Night.
Nice.
But my grandma, she just passed recently, which is very sad. She was the matriarch of the family. But she would have myself and my brother Jeff sing Silent Night in German, Stille Nacht. So we would sing the first verse with her doing the harmony of Silent Night, Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht, alles schlaft, weinsam Nacht, just what we go on. But anyway, we would do that, and then the whole congregation would sing Silent Night. So last year was the first year that my grandma wasn't with us. So we had Christmas Eve at my cousin's house.
Mm-hmm.
I bought an entire box of candles with the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all stood around her house because she lives far away from where we would usually do it. And they do their mass earlier in the day. We didn't get together till later. But when it was night, we stood around her house with those, and we all sang Silent Night. We started it off by singing Stille Nacht. So it was very moving. And I'm a little bit sad because I don't know that we're going to be able to do it. This will be the second year we would do that.
Right.
But, you know, traditions like that, it's a big deal. You know, so Christmas is such a meaningful time, and yeah, that meant a lot.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be really
And
nice.
spending that time with family is really what it's about.
Yeah. If you could do it on a Zoom, if you can't be all together, be on a Zoom. Hold your
Yeah.
camera to
You know,
yourself.
that's actually a very good idea. I could actually ship these to the different family members to their houses, and we could do a Zoom on Christmas Eve and
That would be
hold our candles and sing. And that would actually be able to pull in family members who are in Texas and other places that we don't get to see all that often.
And then you could record it and you could share it with people.
Yeah, that's, you know what? You have delivered a wonderful present in the form of a great idea, Tabletop Santa. That's actually a really, really good idea. Oh, the other thing I should say this though, I like to draw. All of those paper things that go on the catch the wax. Ever since I was a kid, when we would go to church, there would be pencils where the hymnals are.
Yeah.
I would flip those things over and I would draw cartoons on them. And it would be things like Santa as the Terminator and all kinds of weird things. And they would keep those year after year. So people would get there on Christmas Eve looking for the cartoons. So we made sure last year when we did it that we actually drew some cartoons on some of those to try to keep the tradition going.
That is awesome. That is so cool. All right, so last question, again for both of you, is what on the table or a treat, be it pie, candy, cake, or what, or even just something that you only eat during the holidays, do you look forward to?
Yes. All of it.
Just all of it.
Pie, candy, cake,
I
brownies, fudge, nuts.
you know what I love? I love those cookies, the peanut butter cookies that have the Hershey Kiss smushed down into the middle.
Yeah.
Those things are so good.
I agree.
Yeah, those are good. I'm not. Do you guys drink eggnog? I'm not an eggnog person.
No, I drink it's a Swedish like spice wine that you put almond chips in. It's called glögg. It's called glögg. So that's like my holiday drink. That and a this little roll. It's a saffron roll that has raisins on it. It's called lussebula, which is also Swedish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Yeah.
And you only have it during the holiday.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue with the holidays, right? Is that I absolutely love all the treats, the pies, the cakes. I mean, not to mention the turkey, you know, that is like one of my favorites too, and the stuffing that goes in it. However, afterwards, right, just the enormous amount of treats, that's like, I have a sweet tooth that just won't stop. So.
I got an idea for you, right? On January 1st, instead of riding the bike, go out all dressed up like you're gonna, and then just run and make motorcycle noises, and then you'll lose all the weight as you're running along.
That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. It is always a pleasure to sit with you, even if we have to do it in this manner, to see your amazing, happy faces and enjoy this time. And I look forward to being able to see you all again at a convention or at a trade show, whichever comes first, and be able to sit down and talk and just enjoy each other's company. I'm glad that
Ditto, my friend.
Yes, right back at you.
Yeah.